What's up, real ones? Welcome to Let's View It. Thank you for clicking on my video for the first time or again. And who would have ever thought that NBA superstar Anthony Edwards would try to become a big historical figure in men's history? And if you don't know, you're about to find out that Anthony Edwards is trying to innovate child support. He is telling the judge, I want to pay my son's whole 18 years worth of child support up front in one lump sum right now. And if the judge grants this and lets Anthony Edwards do this, this could change the child support game forever. Well, at least for the rich dads. For someone like me, I would have to wait for like 2 months until that kid's 18th birthday. Then I could walk up in court and be like, 600 for the next 2 months? I ain't dealing with this for the next 2 months. Let me pay it off like a big dog, Your Honor. But not only is Anthony Edwards trying to innovate the child support system, the whole story behind how he and Aisha Howard even have this baby is completely crazy and full of drama. So let's use it to entertain ourselves. So you already know. Let's view it. Now, I don't have an actual video for us to view, but I do have this great image for you to look at, for you to imagine stuff, and you get to still listen to me. Isn't that great? Now, the two main characters of this story is NBA superstar Anthony Edwards to the left and Aisha Howard to the right, just in case you're confused. But before we get into their story, Aisha Howard has a story before this that kind of connects to why people feel the way they feel about her. You see, 9 years before she had this baby by Anthony Edwards, she had another kid by a rich famous rap star named Lil Baby. And back then, Lil Baby was about 21 and Aisha Howard was 29. Now, that's not the biggest age gap, but it's a pretty big age gap. Plus, if you look at where they are in those ages, 20 compared to 29, you usually are a completely different person. 20 is still pretty young and immature a lot of times. So this could be taken as her trying to trap younger, black, rich entertainers. Now let's fast forward 9 years to the Anthony Edwards and Aisha Howard story. Now Aisha Howard is 38 years old and Anthony Edwards is 23 years old. So she created an even bigger age gap than her first baby daddy. So if people thought she was trying to trap younger black men then, well, what do you think they think now? But anyways, let's get into this story. As you guys know, Anthony Edwards is an NBA superstar making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And Aisha Howard is an ex-stripper from Magic City, which I think is a high-end club where a lot of athletes and entertainers go into, and that's how she meets these rappers and these athletes. So one way or another, she meets Anthony Edwards. She becomes a one-night stand. Later, she calls him and tells him that she's pregnant with his baby, and he says, so get an abortion. Now, as messed up as that sounds, I'm not trying to get into whether getting abortions is right or wrong. I'm just telling the story. So Anthony Edwards tells her, get an abortion. I will not have anything to do with that baby's life. Now, she decided to have the baby anyways. Why did she decide to have the baby anyways? That's what people are debating. Some just say it's because she wanted the paycheck. She, of course, is not going to say that. And maybe it's true. Maybe she's someone that's against abortions. One of the problems is, though, a lot of her personality says she loves money and attention. But not only was Anthony Edwards telling her, I'm not going to be the dad to this baby, she would ask him, what, do you hate me or something? And he would be like, yeah. And she still had this baby. Now, she can have the baby if she wants. I'm not going to say she's wrong for letting the baby live. I'm just telling the story. Now let's jump to right now and their whole child support thing. Anthony Edwards is telling the judge, I don't want any visitation. I don't want anything to do with this kid. I just want to pay all 18 years of child support up front. Now, the judge hasn't ruled on this yet, and I'm not trying to get into whether it's right or wrong if Anthony Edwards is part of this kid's life. I'm trying to focus on his child support success here. If it was me, I want to be part of all my kids' biological kids' life if I know they're out there. I don't care how they came to be. If they're mine, then I want to be part of their life. I can say most things that I see about Anthony Edwards outside of basketball, he does seem a little immature and say things that seem like a 16-year-old would say. So I could completely see him having the mentality like, just get an abortion. All right, I'll just pay off this problem and I won't have to deal with it. I'm trying to get my bread. And there's tons of other women out there that I can sleep with. I don't need kids and all this stuff holding me down. I can completely see him having that type of mentality. But at the same time, he is only 23 and he's an NBA superstar. But at the same time, that's not really an excuse to say you're not going to visit your kid. Even if the woman had the baby against your wishes, you still have to take your part in the responsibility. You were part of the problem, right? But let's get into the effects this can have if the judge actually lets this happen. If the judge actually says, okay, just pay up and go away. Now, Anthony Edwards' choice to not be in the kid's life isn't the best choice, but this pay off the whole child support in one lump sum is genius. This can stop so much drama. One, if he doesn't want anything to do with her or the kid, they have no excuse to see him. Two, when she goes back to court to get more money for child support, how would that work? Because you already paid up. The contract was signed. You gave her enough money for his whole 18 years of life. So what happened that now you ran out of money? Don't tell me you spent it on yourself. I know women don't do that. They don't do that, right? Nah, they don't do that. And that's one of the most beautiful things of all if the judge lets this happen. Anthony Edwards will be exposing that most of these women just spend the money on themselves. They waste it because I'm telling you, all that money is going to be gone in less than 5 years. If the judge lets him pay her in a lump sum, that money is going to pay for so much damn Starbucks coffees and Louis Vuittons. It's going to be ridiculous. That baby's going to be hopped up on caffeine running around in red bottoms. But this right here would change the game. Every rich guy that has a baby with someone, even if they're in the kid's life, will probably do this or want to do this. And if the judge says, no, you can't do that, they'll be like, well, why not? Anthony Edwards did it. But it would also make people like me, if I was in this situation, try harder to get rich so I can pay off all my problems and make them go away. This is a complete game changer. Anthony Edwards is trying to go down in history books. But please, comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think this person is just a gold digger? Or are you mad at Anthony Edwards for not wanting to be in his kid's life? Or do you think it's completely genius that he wants to pay off all his child support in one lump sum? Or do you pick D, all of the above? But no matter what you think, I'm still gonna need you to hit that bell like the hunchback. Also click that hit checker button and sub ride with me. And I'll see you on the next trip.
Day and night. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. All my life. Keep it real.